welcome back to Practical Job Search with James. Today I want to take a few minutes to talk to you about temp agencies or temporary agencies. One of the best benefits that I could see a temp agency being for you is that they have a lower barrier of entry than traditional job search. Now, what do I mean by traditional job search? Well, traditionally, you are sourcing jobs, whether you're networking, going to job fairs, looking online. You're finding those jobs, then you're tailoring an application to that, and then you're hoping to pass the interview and ideally get the job offer, right? Quite a few steps in that, and there's going to be a lot of competition. Whereas a temp agency, you have the temp agency staff, the recruiters, actually looking to find talent, to find people like you, because they also have employers that need people like you, and they're kind of that intermediary, right? So if you're not familiar, basically the temp agency is told by the employer what type of workers they're looking for. The temp agency says, no problem, I'll find them for you. And then the employer pays the temp agency to have your services, and then the temp agency pays you a little bit less what they're getting paid by the employer, and that's how the temp agency makes their money. Okay, so they don't get paid if they don't find people like you to go to work for the employer. All right, so that's what I mean by lower barrier of entry. And so that can be a really good thing. What are some other benefits of temp agencies? Well, if you're thinking about a career change or you want to try something maybe a little bit different, that's a great way to get your feet wet without overcommitting, right? If you just do your traditional job search and you're entering a field that you really don't have a lot of experience in, and you're thinking, I think I'll like this, but I'm really not sure, and you sign a contract and you agree to work for someone, you might get a couple weeks into it and think, I made a big mistake. I really wish I didn't commit to this. But now, if I try to leave this job, it's just going to be more hassle than I really wanted to deal with, right? So with the temp agency, though, it's shorter term placements to begin with, for the most part. Now, depending on what the situation is, maybe you'll have some longer placements, but one good thing is that if you were working for a temp agency and you found another job that you wanted to do that was maybe more permanent, at least you know that by nature of being a temp agency, they have a huge talent pool that's just kind of waiting to step into that position that you might open up. You're not necessarily going to be leaving people high and dry, so to speak. Okay, there might be some inconveniences, but that's the cost of doing business for people, and that's what the temp agency gets paid for, is to find people when people end up leaving. Okay, so again, not encouraging you to leave your jobs or anything like that, but if you're job searching and you're thinking about a career change, temp agency might be a great low barrier to entry intermediary. What are some other reasons? Well, it's a great way to continue having some income rolling in. All right. Depending on your situation, you may not have any type of employment insurance to kind of help be a buffer, or even if you do, you might find yourself thinking, if I could only get to work somewhere, I'm going to be making a lot more money than I would be on employment insurance, and so a temp agency might be a great way to move into things from there. Additionally, it's a great way to network, right? You're meeting people, you're working on job sites, you're proving your skills, you're keeping that resume really tight as far as the job gap goes. You're not letting a gap kind of grow and expand. You're continuing to work, you're continuing to utilize your skills and keep everything fresh and sharp. Okay. Now, even if you are working in an area outside your field of interest, it's still going to look well on your resume to keep that gap closed, ideally. So those are some reasons why you might want to consider temp agencies and including them in your job search. It's very easy to look them up. Just get on Google and see which ones are near you. Take a close look at which ones, take a close look at what types of jobs different agencies are hiring for, right? They're not necessarily one size fits all. They specialize in certain areas of employment. So see which ones are relatable to you and then get in touch. If it works out, wonderful. If it's not for you, well, at least you explored the option. Have a great one, everybody. Remember that one yes can change everything, and please do build self-care into your job search routine. It will make a difference. It will help you push through. And one thing that I didn't mention a little earlier is that if you're working for a temp agency, there's a decent chance that the employer that you're working for, if you do a good job, they may actually decide to hire you on permanently outside of the temp agency. So they may buy your contract out from the temp agency. So that's another really cool thing to keep in mind as far as what's possible through temp agencies. I hope this was helpful. Thank you very much. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and leave a like and a comment if you'd like to as well. Have a great one.